Things again. Oh, no. Yeah.
I'm frustrated by this movie, so I guess I'm a bit more negative than you are. I feel like I love the premise, or they kind of hit on what the premise should be. But the two big problems I had coming out of this was one, it takes itself far too seriously, and the other problem being is that it's far too long. This movie is too long, and I checked it must be kind of like back chunk of the movie, and I checked how much was left. I was halfway to the movie, there was an hour left. How is there an hour left in this movie at this point? That should be like, wrapping up for the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
Those flashbacks,
Hey.
right before that, I thought it was
How's it going? So I caved and got a cake in the end. I went and got one from Sainsbury's, so I'll have a bit later. Madeira likes sponge cake. I had it last year. It's really nice. I only have one bit tonight though, because it's really fatty. Did you watch the film earlier? I think you said you were putting it on. Yeah, they had a chocolate one, but I just thought I'd stick with the one I had last year, which was nice. So before we do anything, we might as well wait if anyone else shows up. I do have another present to open. Something through the post. My guess is it's from my friend Sarah, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, aero cake sounds nice. Hopefully the dog settles down now. Brentford Arsenal. Yeah, I end up looking like Mr. Blobby though, if they did that. I sort of loved the first weekend of the season because I support Aston Villa. So basically, at the start of the season, they put all the teams in alphabetical order. So we're always second on the opening day without playing. Sort of sweet. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean anything because you can't win anything without playing a game. But, it's just one of those things. I guess the only thing it sort of means is if the season was like, no, they probably wouldn't. I was going to say probably if the season for what reason had to be cancelled at this point, then they might just give it to. Well, then we might finish second, but I don't think they would give it to anyone without playing a game. That would be extreme. Do you follow a team or you just casual? Okay. Now that's interesting because we part. That might mean if you were in the Premier League, you might be top right now. If they count the AFC part, if they start from the B for Bournemouth, then that's different. But well, you're in the Championship, so but they started last weekend. Is that because they're the nearest club to you? Or is it a family thing? Hmm. Okay. No, they had quite a rise, didn't they? Because I remember them being down in League Two, and they almost went out of business at one point. Because I used to be like a steward for my local team, Morecambe, and it was during that time Bournemouth were in the same division as them. So I remember them playing at Morecambe. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I think it was a bit later than that because it was 2008 I started working at Morecambe and I was there about 3 years. So around about 2009, 10 sort of time. Ooh. I can't remember now because it's obviously been a while. I mean, their nickname's the Shrimp, but I'm pretty sure that would be ridiculous. It's gone out of my head now. I can't remember what mascot they had. Yeah. I'll wait a few more minutes and then I might open my present. And then if you want to ask me any questions, you can do. And we'll go from there. Obviously, as the evening goes on, we'll get ready for the Friday the 13th watch. And since nothing much is happening, I'll take a look, see what Morecambe's mascot is. Birthday. That's not what I want, you idiot. Ah, okay. Hey, Camille. Christy the cat is Morecambe's mascot. I just looked it up. The ground used to be on Christie Avenue. That'll be the reason why, I'm guessing. I couldn't find a picture, but yeah, Christy the cat. I know of St Albans, as in the place, yeah. Well, yeah, I know you meant the football team, but I'm just saying I do know. Yeah, I mean, I knew there was a football team. Yeah, I know they're non-league, aren't they? Okay, just a sec. got a few more people watching, I see. Okay, so in a minute I'll open my present and then you guys can ask me some questions if you want. I'm just going to take a look at this mascot. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very cute. Okay. So this arrived earlier. So I'm going to take a look. See what's inside. I'm guessing it's from my friend Sarah. Because she's normally pretty good about getting presents on time to me. Yeah, and it's what I asked her for, the Frasier box set. All 11 seasons. With the dog on the cover. Probably a note inside she normally. Maybe not, that's the receipt. Yeah. Oh no, just packaging. It wasn't too bad really, Camilla. I don't think. No, I spotted I spotted it on there for 35, which for 11 seasons is pretty good. And I'm guessing there'll be some features on there. So yeah, it's one I need to do a proper watch on, Frasier, because I watched it when it was on at the time, but I don't think I saw all of them then. And since I've sort of seen bits and pieces. Okay. So if you two want to ask me any questions, we'll make a start on the Q&A part. Now, I do have right to reject a question if I think it's, too personal or crossing a line or anything. Or it's just one I just don't want to answer for whatever reason. But within reason, I will answer pretty much anything. I'll do my best. I have to think of new things to do on these streams. Well, let's stay off politics for tonight because it's my birthday and all that. I mean, I don't mind if the subject sort of happens upon politics. I guess politics is just one of those things. It's very hard. It seems entangled in so much one way or the other, but did I go bar hopping? That's a great term, I'll say that. Yeah, once or twice, Camille. I wouldn't say I went that often, but once or twice, or just went for a night out and just stayed at the same place and yeah, had a night out there. But yeah, a few times probably. It was funny because I was a mature student at the start. Well, I was all the way through, but because when I started uni, I was a mature student. Um, I found that stuff quite hard at first because obviously most of them were like typical uni age, and yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. Um, I think probably at first I was a bit guilty of like trying too hard, maybe to fit in, but yeah, okay, good question. I would say the diversity really, because it was a very diverse town, a very friendly town. Diversity in the and the size, because like Brighton, where I went to uni, obviously everyone knows about Brighton stuff or seen as a big. I think it's the town, isn't it? Same time, it's not too big, and to get around and to kind of know your way to things. It had good transport links, and although certain things in Brighton were pricey, I think the transport was sort of reasonable. So yeah, the diversity and how easy it was really to get around, probably that sort of thing. Yeah, I think it adds something a bit different, doesn't it? If you've got a mix of ages, I would say in my class actually we did have a mix of ages. Probably most of them were uni age, but there were definitely a few who were a bit older. Yeah, I did. A lot of people on my course were 18, so hung out with them. It's funny because, a certain group of people, I think at first I thought they were going to be like my friends and group and stuff. And then I sort of drifted away from them. And then there was, a couple of people who, in like the later part of uni, I actually started hanging out with again, sort of thing, who initially I was sort of hanging out with. Yeah, and it just depends, Anthony, on the person and their setup. I think because I was going to uni in a different place, not my hometown or not where I'd been living, that might have made it harder. Whereas someone on my course who was like a mature student, he like lived in Brighton for I think most of his life. So I think that helped him, like, because he already knew the city and stuff. And I guess maybe, I mean, he's the sort of guy who made friends easily anyway, but I guess he wasn't really hung up on whether he made friends or not. Well, Tom was in a different year to me, and he's another one I sort of slowly got to know. And, we have a fair bit in common, so we did become quite good friends in the end. So, okay, slow down, slow down. Okay, meeting Tom, it's just because he was on the year, and so I think I started talking to some other people before him, and then I met him maybe through them. So that's kind of how I got to know him. And we just started hanging out. I don't. Oh, I'm trying to think. It's hard to say that they were attacking me or giving me a hard time directly or on purpose. I think in the first year there were some really immature people, and I did feel a bit like that. I did feel like at times, because I remember in the presentation and just a little bit nervous because I'd not done many presentations at that point, and it was in a decent sized room of people. And yeah, they were just mucking around and sort of laughing, and I think at the time I thought they were laughing at me, but my guess is they were just mucking around and doing their own jokes and stuff, which obviously is rude because it was I was doing a presentation at the time, but yeah, I don't think they were actually being a bit immature and stuff, but um experiences weren't too bad. It was just that sort of struggling to fit in, and sometimes it is difficult if you put yourself out there, and then sometimes people just aren't what you think. So, but no, it got better over time, and I would say I had a good experience there. Trouble in a new town. I probably just covered it. I think it's just typical stuff, adjusting to certain things. I don't going out in the town and stuff like that, and finding your way around. I don't know. I really had any problems with that. Obviously, you're not gonna know it's all. With Brighton, I had been quite a few times because I've got friends up that way, so I think that helped. And one of my good friends, we was living there. He still does live quite near there, but was living in Brighton at the time. So we hung out a lot. So that definitely helped. We did a lot together, and we would sometime meet for lunch or a coffee at lunch. So that definitely helped. So flatmates, it was funny because I sort of had three different living places for the 3 years. So the first year I was in the typical sort of dorm type setup. And actually, I sort of switched halfway through. I switched to another place just because it was like right near my campus, or well, it was on the same campus, so right near where I would go to class. Um, I think yeah, that's an example. I think I maybe didn't feel like I had that much in common with like the people in dorms. Or when I moved, I mean, there was this group that were quite loud, and they were friendly, but they were a bit loud at times. One of I got talking to like one person, and we were quite friendly, and yeah. But the dorm stuff was probably quite hard. Um, I mean, it didn't matter too much because I'd obviously made friends in my class. But yeah, the dorm living stuff was probably quite tough. And then the second year, obviously, you have to move off campus and you have to move into a house. And I moved in with my friend Ilya, because he was like a close friend on my course. And but we moved in with two of his friends, and all three were Russian. So obviously I'm not discriminating, but there is that barrier because they wanted to talk Russian all the time, and they would even do it when I was around. Um, but yeah, we moved into a house together, and I would say that was okay. It was tough at time. The barrier sometimes. Yeah. Uh, I mean, it wasn't any, because obviously me and Ilya already had a good friendship, and we still kind of had that friendship. I don't think that really changed that much because I moved into a house with them. It was just a little tricky because obviously they did want to speak Russian all the time, even if I was in the room. Um, like when they're not talking to me, obviously they spoke to in English when they spoke to me. But yeah, there was a certain amount of that where they would sort of do their own things together. And but yeah, one of the others I got on well with. We were, did a few things together, and she was like nice and pleasant, and that was fine. And the other guy, I think for a while we got on okay, but he was, after a while, he became a real douche. He was pretty awful. Yeah, but it was okay. And then the third year, I moved in with like this guy. Like he was renting his like one of his bedrooms, and he he had a family, but he was like renting out his bedrooms, like. And again, that was fine. I mean, it was a bit of a challenge because he could be quite highly strung, and I guess I was a bit, I can be a bit sensitive as well. But I guess it's one of those things when you're renting out like your room to someone, it's not really the same as like the normal landlord. You're gonna maybe have a bit more of a fussy side, but I mean, it was all right because the third year was pretty good. I think the third year was when I sort of thought, well, I've got my feet here now, and the third year was pretty fun, uni wise, and sort of socializing with a few people. So that was okay. But yeah, the living stuff was a bit of a challenge to cut this short in rambling, but yeah, that's really bizarre, Anthony. Strange times. I know someone I know, she said like her boyfriend hasn't been to a class because he started uni like the year of COVID or something. So he hasn't actually physically been to a class, which is weird. And I think it's something you need to do. It is obviously part of the experience to like actually physically go out and go to classes. Yeah, I think I had the awkward flatmates thing. Oh, was that? I was going to get to that, Camille. Chances are I wouldn't have been able to answer it because I'm terrible at maths and I'm very slow at thinking about these things. Say in uni. That's a good one. Um, for my dissertation, I did it on David Lynch and his artwork and just how important it is to his films and stuff. So that was a good one because obviously Lynch is like a god to me. So that was a fun one to do. I did. I would have to think. I did some good. I did. I think it was obviously in a lot of the modules. I think you could pick one that was quite close to your interests. So I remember doing one on Catherine Bigelow. I think like a gender-based one on her. I think I did one on the X-Files. I can't remember the theme of it, but I remember doing one that was based around the X-Files. And the presentations were quite good fun. Most of the time. I remember one I was where they just gave you it sort of thing and you had to do it from a reading, and it was quite a niche sort of topic. So I struggled a bit with that presentation. But I had one where it was like Buffy and Desperate Housewives and looking at like the suburban setting and stuff. So that was definitely a good one. Bloody annoying. Yeah, it's a shame. Well, yeah. Sometimes fights and stuff can be funny. As long as they're not too serious. One of the guys I lived with, actually the one who I ended up sort of hating, but he used to crack me up because he used to be like playing other people on like the computer at night and like online sort of thing. He would just swear a lot and just like really get into it. and it was just hilarious to hear him through the wall. Like, I don't think he was being deadly serious. It was like just his thing, like, but it was just funny hearing it when you're not in the room. Yeah, I probably did better with presentations than I thought I was going to. I think most of the presentations I did, and I mean, luckily I've never done one in front of like a massive room. Okay. So we can change topics if you want. We've had a good chat on uni education. Well, okay, film and TV. If you've got any film and TV questions, have a think. I have watched it. Um, I've not watched all of it, but it's no. I've watched more than 2 episodes. I did watch some growing up. My brothers had it on, and no, I've not seen many. That's true. It's just time, Anthony. No, I mean it's nothing against the show. It's just a lot of the stuff I watch, I have to watch for a review. Um, and I watch stuff with obviously mum, and she's not really into Doctor Who, so I wouldn't really watch it with her. So it sort of makes it hard to find time to watch it. But yeah. Uh, well, I got it. What's the middle one at uni? I forget. Is it a 2-1? Is it a 2-1? I think it is. I got a 2-1 overall. I got the middle one basically at my overall uni qualification. And I think I did solid throughout. There was definitely some essays I was disappointed with and felt I could have done better, and then the grade came out not as good as I was expecting. But then there were others where I probably did a little bit better than I thought, and I would say I was solid overall throughout, and 2-1 was pretty reflective. Film and TV, it just because it became a passion really for me, and this sort of thing I do on the channel is the sort of thing I would like to do in a way, make a living out of and stuff. And so that's why I did it at uni. I just thought maybe it would be a good experience and a way to make connections, and and maybe improve the CV and stuff. Um, Obviously, it's tough, but well, I could do Anthony. I'll give it a try the next time there's a new episode on. It's just again finding time to watch the episode and stuff. Also, because I'm not really a big fan of the show, I didn't know how much insight I could give into a review. Because, like, obviously, if you reviewed it, for example, you would have that insight. You could say, as a Doctor Who fan, I don't like this about it, or I like this about it, sort of thing. I guess I would be reviewing it outside of that. Very good. I don't have anything against it though. I think it's fine. Oh, hey, hero. Sorry, hero. Thank you. How are you? It's great to see you. It's just one of those things, Anthony, because I didn't grow up on it. It's unlikely now that I'm going to become a big Doctor Who fan. It's not impossible, but it's probably unlikely. Okay, I've got to show Hero my mug. Okay, slow down. Okay, this is my new mug, Hero. My X-Files UFO style mug. I think I've answered that before, Camilla. Thanks. Yeah, it was on my Amazon wish list. So I decided to get it for my birthday. Okay. I got a little bit of part-time work, Camilla. Yeah. No, I think that's the only colour, as far as I know. So how did you find Devil May Cry 5 Renegade? How did it compare to the others? You're cracking me up, Anthony. It's not like I've even said anything bad about Doctor Who. Just some things just aren't quite your thing. You know, when I put it on, I enjoy it and stuff, but it's just not something I have any real big passion for. Okay. See, that's another thing, video games. That's another area. I played video games when I was younger, and then I think sometimes I played with people at uni, but it's probably the time thing again, but I wouldn't mind. Not hardcore, but I wouldn't mind going back to playing some video games. Feel free to ask me any questions, Renegade. We're doing a Q&A. And we'll be watching Friday the 13th later, if you want to stick around. Supernatural, I've only seen the first episode, which we watched on stream together. I quite liked that first episode, but I can't really say otherwise. Riverdale, yeah, I quite enjoy Riverdale. It's a completely bonkers show, and I quite enjoy it for the guilty pleasure side. But again, there is a lot of it, and if you lose track of it, it's hard to sort of go back. But yeah, Riverdale as a goofy sort of watch, I quite enjoy. Okay, no problem. Thank you. You asked, where's the Walking Dead? I've seen the first season of Walking Dead, which I quite enjoyed. It was a long time ago. It was when it was first on. It's another one. There's so many seasons now. It's hard going back to it, and I kind of just feel like it's going to be one of those where they probably did too many. But again, I won't rush back to it, but I probably will watch some more at some point. Okay. Well, last question on uni, Camille, because we have sort of moved on, but money management. I don't know. I guess I struggled a bit because when you're doing these things for the first time, obviously there were people I could call for help, but I guess that I did okay. But it is very tough, it's an expensive sort of thing, and balance. If you don't have a reliable income outside of what the grant you get given, it can be it can be tricky, because costs can sometimes add up without you realizing. But yeah, no, no, I've not seen either. Here, a hero. They're both on my list to see. I hear good things about both. Okay. Yeah, and there's not that much of Sherlock, so I'll definitely check it out. Any more on film and TV, or do you want to change subject? Mm. Yeah. I think I've heard mixed things about Sleepy Hollow. I like the film of Sleepy Hollow, but I haven't seen any of the series. Okay. So I guess if I give you a theme and you can interpret it any way you sort of want, but let's say, yeah, me too. That's pretty cool. Let's say travel. Travel. I mean, you can open that out. It doesn't have to be necessarily just travel, as in going for a holiday or something. Yeah, few times. I've been to New York a few times because my friend's parents moved out there sort of, well, over 10 years ago. They're back in England now living, but for a while, yeah, they were living in New York. Um, so yeah, I've been to New York a few times to visit them, which was really good. Um, Went to Oklahoma once because I've got an auntie there. So been there once, which was obviously really different from New York. I would. Hmm. That's a good question because just for the culture and things like that, I would say Japan, but it's a tough one because also I think I might struggle to fit in more Japan because obviously there's the language barrier more. And I think that obviously there are more things in Australian culture that might be closer to British. Although I could be wrong. I think, obviously Japan, like Tokyo and stuff, it is quite a modern sort of city where there would be. But they do have their own distinct culture as well. See, Australia is a funny one because I would like to visit one day, but it's never struck me as a place I had to go. Whereas Japan, I think, does have that appeal. Japan does feel like a bucket list sort of place. Um, so I'll say Japan just because of the adventure of it and because it is such a different culture. But I'm sure Australia would be good as well. Um, God, I don't want. I hope Rachel doesn't see this. I hope she's not offended. Nothing against Australia. It was okay, Camilla. I was staying with my auntie, and she can be quite challenging. So, because of the way she can be, it probably made the trip quite stressful. But outside of that, we did do some nice things. We went to like the Red Earth Festival, for example, which is like a Native American festival, and that was really good. And we went to like a baseball game, which I'd never been to before, and it was like $1 for a beer. They do like a set night, so we did some good things in Oklahoma. It was just a bit challenging because of the way my auntie can be, and obviously it's completely different than New York, where you can get around much easier in New York. Obviously, with not Australia, with Oklahoma, you're relying on someone with a car. Because I remember I wanted to go to like cinema one night, and I would have had to have gotten someone to take me in the car because it was too far out. Okay. Yeah, New Zealand I would like to visit just because it's such a beautiful country from what I've seen. Ireland too, it's funny. I mean, living in the UK all my life, I've never been to Ireland, so I definitely want to go to Ireland. Yeah, I think the cities in Australia maybe appeal more than like the desert parts. And I mean, I would probably like just for a day or something, like maybe go to that sort of part. I mean, I'm sure some of the mountains and stuff are really nice, but yeah, but it's an interesting country, Australia. It's had an interesting history, I think, and it's a very diverse country. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of on the list, Anthony, and it's just maybe not as high as other places. Yeah, as I found out the other week, because when I was talking to Rachel on Skype, it was the dead of winter. And I was obviously in like a t-shirt because it was hot here, and she was like in a like winter type wear. And I wondered about that, if they actually had Christmas at this time of year. I just didn't know if it was just because of the season. I didn't know if like their Christmas was still in December. It's just then the weather would be very different. But no, okay. So that must mean they're having Christmas about now or something. Or soon in the next couple of weeks or something. I don't know, I could be wrong. I'll have to ask her about that. Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing like a lighthouse. Castle, yeah, I've not seen a castle properly. There's actually a castle not that far from me where the prisons used to be. I've seen that a little bit because I was there a while back actually, but yeah, I've not seen all of it. I went to Edinburgh, but I didn't go to. I only saw the castle from the outside because you have to pay to go on one of the tours. So, hey, Caroline. I would have to think actually, but yeah, something like a lighthouse would be quite interesting. And I guess there's just other sort of like landmarks and sites from other countries and cultures I would like to see. I've the Great Wall of China, for example. I would like to go there. I've 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 not actually been to those places. I think I've been near them, or at least through them. Hatfield, I think when I went to a festival one time, it was near there. And Southend, because I'm from Peterborough, so Southend's like pretty near there, quite near there. So yeah, but no, I've not actually been to those places. I don't know because I haven't asked her, Anthony. To be honest, until you said it, I didn't know that their Christmas was around this time. I just thought it was then their winter was. I didn't know they actually had Christmas. Well, why did you say then in Australia it's their Christmas then? Um, well, maybe because they're not a religious country, Anthony. I'm confused. I'm going to ask her now. She might see this stream anyway. Ever been to Paris? Yeah, once. We went for a day one time on the Eurostar because it was my mum's. I think it was a 65th birthday, something like that, or one of like the landmark. It was her birthday anyway, so we went for the day. Okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. So okay, yeah, it's my fault, Anthony. I was getting confused with what you meant. I thought you meant then when it's winter in Australia, which is now, that they have Christmas. But no, it's just it's summer for them. Yeah, no, I get you. No, not as far as I know, Hero. I worked at a hotel for a while, and this guy who was very paranoid claimed that it was haunted. Um, I think he could have been pranking me, but it was hard to tell with him because he was quite highly strong over certain things and did take certain things a bit too seriously. So, well, when we went to France, it was a family trip. So it was me, my older brother, and my mum, and my auntie. Oh, okay. Yeah, summer or spring, whenever. That is going to be weird because me and Rachel will probably be doing extra episodes. That's funny. We actually had a really good family trip to Spain one year because my brother, for a while, was quite a serious runner, um, and he competed at the World Championships in Spain. So it's at amateur level, but even so, with his club and stuff. But we had a family trip there to see him. And that was a really good trip. First time I'd been to Spain, and it was a really nice little town as well. Very friendly people. Some nice sights and stuff. They had a beach. I went swimming one day in the ocean, which was good. I got a bit carried away maybe, but that was good. Yeah, Spanish people always seem really friendly to me, Hero. Most of the time, anyway. Obviously, there's, but yeah, I would like to see more of Spain. Well, I've got a nephew. Oh no, I do have one niece. Sorry. Um, I haven't seen her for years. That's why I sort of temporarily forgot. But no. I'm not travelled with any of them. Um, yeah, I used to, Anthony. Yeah, I lost a brother. Basically, is what I'm saying. So yeah, it's just my other brother now. Yeah, I have travelled alone. When I went to New York, I travelled alone. I obviously knew people there. uh, You know, I was staying with people in New York, but yeah, I did travel alone. My friend has travelled with me a couple of times to places. Like we went to Berlin and Amsterdam, but yeah, no, I've travelled alone. I don't mind it too much. You probably lose something. I think it is fun to travel with people when you're going abroad, but you know, whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah, thanks guys. It was a long time ago now, so I'm okay. But yeah, strange. Well, we went to the Anne Frank Museum, and that was good. Obviously, very, very shocking and sad, but that was good because they recreated like the sort of conditions than it would have been like. Um, so that was good. I remember we went to some good shops. I can't remember everywhere we went now, to be honest. We went to some museums which were nice, and we actually stayed on a canal barge. So that was good. New York. Thank you, Hero. Yeah, this was fun. Take care. See you soon. New York. We did the, what's it called? The NBC tour we did. So that was good. That was fun. I kind of got a bit addicted to the NBC store. Because I obviously, like, I'm into a lot of like the sitcoms like 30 Rock and The Office and stuff, and so they've got Seinfeld, so they've got all this different merchandise. So I did get quite hooked on the NBC store, but we did like the studio tour where you can ask questions and stuff, and that was quite good fun. We've we sort of sat in the audience for when one of the, like, the talk show hosts was like practicing like his routine, like just getting a feel. So depending on like our reaction, he would decide whether to keep a joke or not, sort of thing. So that was quite good. Did the tour, went ice skating one year. Would have been when I went for Christmas. So Rockefeller. So that was an experience. Being in New York for Christmas was a lot of fun. We obviously saw like the famous like Macy's shops and stuff, and not the parade itself, but you know, the shops they have around Christmas time. So that was really fun, really good. We went boating on the lake a couple of times, so that was nice. Went to some museums. We went to obviously the I can't remember what it's called now, but it's gone out of my head. But the big museum in New York, but that was really good. And we went in the you know, the space one where you sit back in the seat and they sort of do about the planet. So I forget what it's called now, but we did that, and that was good. Went up the Empire State Building, which I guess is something you have to do really when you're in New York. And yeah, a few cultural things, gigs. Went to a wrestling show one time. Went to a comedy show once, like an improv type thing. Went to a flea market. International friends. Not really. You know, I mean, there's people who I've become friends with who are like from other countries and stuff, and yeah, no, I don't think, I can't think of an example where I've actually made a friend when I've been on holiday and we've stayed in touch. No. You know, you do get talking to people, obviously, but yeah, no, not a natural friend. Did I climb up it? Well, I'm assuming you mean the Empire State Building. I well, we went up it. We went up it the normal way. No, mum didn't come. Obviously, I was with my friend. Yeah, might be an idea. I was going to ask you guys actually before we move on, and I'll answer as well. But is there anywhere you could see yourself living if like money was no object, or if the circumstance was like right? So another country or another place in this country, or well, the country you live. Obviously, Camilla lives in the States. Is there like a dream place you could imagine living? Okay, Camille would come abroad to London. Oh, London, Paris. Okay. I think that makes sense. I think to someone who lives outside of those countries. Yeah, very good. You would get a culture shock, Camilla. Oh, I missed your Africa. Sorry, I forgot to answer your African question. Would I visit? Yeah, I would visit. Um, Again, it maybe isn't one that high on the list. I think there's places I would go to before it, but yeah, Africa I would like to see some of. Okay. Yeah, Germany's one of those places. If I went to somewhere in Europe, I could see living somewhere like Germany. Just because they're such friendly people from my experience, and again, a lot of culture and stuff there. I think quite affordable in some ways as well. Germany, Ireland would be interesting. Spain, I could see definitely. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying I would. I mean, if if you put these things in practice, that it might not work, but potentially, if I was going for the right reasons, I could see it working. Yeah, I think I would visit the Philippines. No, I've never been to the Philippines. Yeah, China, Japan. It's a tricky one because the culture is so different, but so I don't know if I would say I could see myself living there. I definitely would like to visit those places. Oh, a lot would have to change, Anthony. That's all I'll say. I'm sure it is a nice country in some ways. I don't know if there's anywhere I wouldn't visit. I mean, there's certain places where I know you are. There's certain places where, unless you had a reason to visit, then I wouldn't go. Obviously, places in this country that are quite similar to places I've been anyway. If I didn't have a reason, I probably wouldn't go to them. But no, in theory, I don't think there's anywhere I wouldn't go. So I hear. But I mean, I've had a good experience in New York. So I want, I could see myself maybe living in New York if it was right. If it was like one of the smaller parts, I wouldn't want it to be too, but and somewhere in Europe, like I said, Germany, maybe Spain. I could see. Yeah, there's still plenty of places in Europe I want to see. Norway I would like to see, because of the Northern Lights and what have you. I I would move if it was right, Camilla. I mean, if it was Europe, I know it's different now because of stuff like Brexit, but I mean, in theory, Europe is still quite easy to get back and forth from. So if it was somewhere in Europe, then it wouldn't really be that much of a problem. It's obviously mostly my mum at the moment. Like the rest of my family, I only see 2 or 3 times a year anyway, so that's different. Not really Anthony. It's it's probably in the back of my mind, like maybe the first time I flew, and I think there is a bit of nerves when you fly for the first time, but it's not. No, it's not something I got hung up on. Yeah. Well, I think once we're definitely in the clear, because I think it's still a bit hit and miss at the moment. But once we're sort of definitely in the clear, I think Ireland is. Well, I don't know about living, but you know, maybe. Okay, I think we can change subjects. Brentford beating Arsenal, I see. Brentford's return to the top flight. Okay. Why is You're My Girlfriend trending on Twitter? Oh, okay. It's to do with Love Island. Should have guessed. What subject? I don't know. One of you can pick a subject. I picked the last one. I might as well stay on this for a bit longer because obviously we're going to do the film in a bit. But I'm waiting for Cindy to show up. Who to hate? I don't know. I don't think I do actually. It's weird, but I can't really think of any food that I hate. Obviously, there's some foods I like more than others. I mean, I hate certain, it's not really a food, but like lettuce, things you have in salad. Tomatoes, I'm not that keen on. Actually, it depends what they're in, but oh, hey, Pokey, thank you. Yeah, mayonnaise, I'm not that keen on. I'm not sure why. It just doesn't do much for me. And I do like certain salad things, um, but yeah, like lettuce. I mean, if you're having quite a nice salad, I guess lettuce is fine. But outside of that, yeah. I'll get the lettuce out later. The lettuce. I got lettuce on the mind now. The cake out later. I don't know. I don't know about salad cream. I guess salad cream's alright. Certain salad creams. Textures. I don't know. I don't know about textures. I've probably not thought that much about it. Certain smells, I guess I quite like. Okay, so we're jumping about now. Have you weird? Not as far as I know, Anthony. I'll say that. I think the supernatural is something I think about because it is something I believe in. So there's an interest there. And I think certain times at night you do kind of think, well, something creaked or something moved unnaturally. So you do wonder about stuff like that, but that's as far as it goes. I can't really say for sure if I've ever been like in a room with something supernatural because there's been no telltale sort of signs, I guess is what I'm saying. Hey Piper, thank you. Thanks. Okay. Strange thoughts about life. I don't know. I don't I don't know if I do. I mean, sometimes I think partly because I do have certain mental health issues. Sometimes I overthink things, I'm guilty of that and sort of looking for things that maybe aren't there or yeah, I can't really name an example, but yeah, I'm sure I do have. I think we all, see life differently, really. But yeah, I can't really think of an example. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I've said to people and they thought, okay, yeah, that's whatever. That's a, that's different. But day's been pretty good, Piper. Mostly just relaxing because I'm here dog sitting because mum's away. But I'm in London in a couple of weeks, so should see some friends then. But it's been okay. I've been opening presents and obviously done a few streams. Doing Friday the 13th later. I don't really know. I don't know much about the history of the flat, Camilla. All I know, like our neighbour, his mum, who's but she actually bought the flat at one point. But I don't know much about it, to be honest. What do I overthink? Yeah, if you have any questions, Piper, feel free. I don't know. I just general human relations and stuff, and I mean, without going too deep into my personal life, I probably can't really answer that, but that sort of thing. I mean, it's similar to what I was saying earlier. I think sometimes at uni, because it was a bit of a challenge fitting in, I think sometimes with that, I took things a bit too personally because I don't know the people. And I think sometimes, because I guess people, you get a feel for where they're coming from at different times. And I mean, I guess I'm not saying, but it was, tough sometimes if I felt I made an effort and then sort of felt left out. Probably, took that a bit too more serious than I should have done at times. And it's one of those things. Sometimes I'm reading people a certain way, and sometimes they are that way, whether they admit it or not. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes it is just me overthinking it. I don't. I'm probably not the best at communicating at times. And I think some of that comes through my sort of mental health issues and a certain block. I think sometimes, unless it's something, because obviously I can communicate with like people like you guys online and stuff easily about film and TV because that's sort of my interest, and I would say I'm quite social generally. I can hold a conversation, and I would say very good, Piper. Very good. Yeah, Ton, who was on last night, would appreciate that because she's a big Office fan. Never gets old. Well, I've lost my trade. It was worth it just for that, but I've lost my trade of thought. But I think you get the impression. Yeah, and no, it's fair play. I never get tired of a bit of Office. Uh, yeah, like I would say, if people met me generally, they would think, yeah, he's a decent guy. He's friendly and stuff, and I do like to be considerate of people, but yeah, it's maybe later when you're like developing, you know, because I think when obviously it is tough when you meet people, but I think if it's just someone you're talking to casually and it's someone you might not see again after that conversation, then there's no real pressure. I mean, it's tough in a sense because it's harder to talk to a stranger, but at the same time, you can be more relaxed. He hasn't texted me yet, Camilla. He normally sends me a message on Facebook, so I think at some point he'll probably message me on there. Um, do I get along with? I don't know. It's tough to answer because I think you read people differently. I mean, who you think might be loud and extroverted, I might not think they're that way. But I guess, yeah, I wouldn't say I like people like that. I think they can be quite putting, but I mean, if there's more to them and I got to know them, then mm, it's maybe a mix, Anthony. I think for a long time I preferred people like me, but I think that changed. I guess if you had nothing in common, then it would be tough to have like a friendship or whatever. But at least if you had a couple things, two or three things in common, or if you were like minded in some way, then I think I could be friends. I mean, that's something I've tried to do more, not just because probably in the past I've been a little judgmental in that way. Um, so no, it's something I've gotten better at than I just yeah. If they're a nice person and if they're interesting to talk to and stuff, and you know, yeah, I don't really dismiss them because they don't, if they have similar different tastes in mine. So I mean, it's one of those things, Anthony. I mean, if I'm being totally honest here, as much as I love TV and film, some of the people in that world, and I'm not even just talking about the industry here, I'm talking about people who go to study it, higher education and that, and depending on their background, but that they can sometimes be kind of douchebags. which I guess is true of whatever, but I think they can sometimes feel like they should be the center of attention, and they do, act in a certain douchey way, and there is a potential there. But so I think it's healthy to have a mix of people in a way. Yeah, kind of like that. And I obviously did my masters at King's, so there were people there like that who had a bit of a identity type thing going on, and who were probably, I think most of them were like nice to talk to and stuff, were okay to talk to, but yeah, I definitely felt that there a little bit. But it was a good question. I hope I answered it quite well. I think definitely I used to be that way then. I preferred to hang out with people I had things in common with. But I think I'm a bit more, yeah, bit more of a mix now. Because I know obviously I'm a nerd and I review stuff and I go quite deep into things, but I still like to think that I'm quite grounded and that I can have a laugh and stuff. Oh, we're watching Friday the 13th in a bit. Piper, if you want to watch. What have I learnt about friendships over the years? Well, it's a bloody cliche, but never, no, never judge a book by its cover. I guess I'm going to use a cliche, which works both ways. I mean, obviously, earlier I was saying that there's certain people you think, right, yeah, this is going to be a good friend, and things are happening, and then for whatever reason they change, and that works the other way. It works where there's someone who you might dismiss, who you think, yeah, this isn't my kind of person, and then they might surprise you. So never judge a book by its cover. The other thing I've learned is probably don't get too attached. I mean that's good advice in general, because people have to be their own people. Well, it's crap English, but people have to be themselves at the end of the day and live their lives. So probably not to get too attached is a good general thing. But you know what I mean. I guess I'm saying if you don't know someone that well, maybe don't get too involved or too attached until you know them a bit. Well, but obviously as things develop, you can, yeah, you know, you know what I'm saying. Um, we're gonna watch it soon, I think. What? Maybe start about 10ish or something. Um, but I'm sort of hanging around because I know Cindy's going to watch the movie, so when we're ready to do the movie, I'll probably switch to another stream. Maybe look to do it about 10. Oh, okay. Hey, Cindy. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, it's been okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's nearly 10. Yeah, it's 10 to 10, pretty much, Piper. So we'll start soon. Oh, Cindy, yeah, I got the Frasier set for my birthday as well. Came through the post, so we can watch some Frasier at some point. Because I know you're a big Frasier fan. Yeah, you can pick some of your favourite episodes and watch them. Because there's loads I haven't seen. Cool Kids. Outcasts. Again, it's sort of relative, isn't it, Camilla? Because how do you define what is a cool kid or an outcast? I mean, obviously there are people who are kind of seen as outcast or they're quite nervous, maybe, but it's hard to actually define that. I think normally life doesn't break down that way. I don't think it breaks down like you see in the movies a lot of times. I think there's more grey areas. Not saying obviously there are people who, for whatever reason, are a bit more popular at school than others. That's always the case, but again, I think you just have to get to know the person. You know, there could be someone who's perceived as like popular and cool, but as long as they don't have an ego about it, then it's fine. I mean, if someone's projected that on them, it's not really their fault. It's only really if they become egotistical because of it. If they're fine to talk to and they seem like nice people and stuff, then it's not really a problem. But again, I don't think life really normally breaks down like that. I think it's a bit more mixed than that. Okay, do you have any questions, Cindy? On any topics? Well, the Brentford fans seem to be making a bit of a noise, so I'm guessing they're still winning. Yeah, I can hear it on the radio. They've won downstairs. Yeah, Piper, I've been a few times because my friend's family moved out there quite a few years ago. So I've been to New York a few times. I've been to Oklahoma once because my auntie lives there. So yeah. New York, I had a great time. Oklahoma was a bit more mixed. We did some nice stuff there, but it's obviously different. And my auntie, you know, can be a bit much, unfortunately. So that was a bit of a mixed sort of visit to Oklahoma, but it was obviously nice to see a different sort of city. I I can't I can't think of one. I mean, obviously, I'm a massive Lynch fan, so like some of his stuff really inspired me, and certain films as you're growing up. I mean, Jurassic Park sticks in the memory, seeing that on the big screen for the first time. Um, because I was 13 at the time, 12, 13, something like that. So I was sort of the right sort of age. I mean, if I'd been 2 years younger, I might have been a bit too young for it. And, after that, maybe you get a bit more cynical. But I think I was the right age to really be captivated by that film, seeing it at the cinema. And obviously, there's never been a film that's done dinosaurs like that since. But yeah, I just remember being terrified of the dinosaurs when seeing it at the cinema, and just it being a great experience. I mean, it's what Spielberg as a director does best, really. He sweeps you up in that sort of world, and it's a fun adventure, but it also has scary bits as well, and it works as a perfect like family type film. Yeah. Yeah, I've told this story before. Well, I don't know if I've told it on stream, but I went to see Jurassic Park twice at the cinema, and the first time was with my mum. The second time was with my brother. And when I went with my brother, sorry, not when I, because back then we used to go cinema quite a lot. Because well, you just did, just one of the things you did. Cinema was reasonably easy to get to, but I remember going to see a different film, like in between the two screenings of Jurassic Park. And I just remember when I went to the other film, you could hear the dinosaurs through the wall. So that was really cool. Because a lot of times, when you have a film next door and you can just hear noise, it's sort of impossible to make out what film it is or what the noise is. But you could obviously tell that's Jurassic Park. So that was cool. I remember that time quite well. I don't know if I've seen it all the way through, Anthony. I think I might have done once on TV. Yeah, I think I might have done it once, seen it once, but it's a while ago. I remember thinking it was okay, maybe not amazing. It's one I'll have to rewatch. Hey, Aunt May, Mahensa. Thank you. Thanks. How are you today, Mahensa? If you have any questions, feel free. Maybe she's gone again. Okay. So we'll start the movie in a minute. I'll probably end this stream and just start another one up for the movie because it sort of makes sense to keep the streams separate. Don't want to cross the streams, as they say. Okay, yeah, this has been a good stream. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I'll end this stream and then I'll be back on in a minute and we'll watch Friday the 13th and probably another film afterwards. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks.